Alrighty, so we're just going to talk about some basic bearings, and you guys really only have to be able to do basic bearings at the moment, which is just to be able to draw the diagram and then work out the bearing of one thing from another thing for the moment. You might have scale drawings in there, so you might have to draw a scale for your distance. For example, you might be told that every 1 centimetre equals 2 kilometres. So if you were drawing something that was going to be 6 kilometres, you would need to use 12 centimetres. Okay, something along those lines, but for the most part it's just using a protractor, using a ruler, and trying to work out the bearings. Because I don't have a ruler and a protractor on here, it's going to be a little bit difficult to talk you through, but I hope I found some good enough examples that we should be able to cover it for the extent that you'll probably need to do for your exam anyway. Oh, I actually do have a ruler. That's handy. Oh, look at that. There we go. Oh well, things you learn, hey. Okay, so the first thing is with bearings. All bearings are taken from north, okay, and that's really important. So remembering that we've got north, east, south, west on our scale, and if we're taking it from north, that means we're always taking the angle from north in a clockwise direction, okay, never in an anti-clockwise direction, always clockwise, and then whatever that angle is, that's your bearing from north. Okay, obviously what the angle is depends on what perspective you're looking at in going from one thing to another thing. So I've got this example here where I've got a lighthouse and a boat. So the first thing is we're going to work out what would be the bearing of the boat from the lighthouse. So we're saying, looking at the lighthouse, what angle is the boat from the lighthouse? Well, we can see that if this is north here, should I go green? If this is north here, okay, where the boat is 70 degrees from the lighthouse on that angle. Okay, so therefore the bearing of the boat from the lighthouse would be 70 north. Okay, a little bit different. We're going to look at the bearing of the lighthouse from the boat. So now we're looking at the boat and we're talking about what angle have we gone from the boat back to the lighthouse. Okay, so in this case we've got we know that we have here, if you always put in your north directions, then you create yourselves two parallel lines to deal with, which is really handy when you're working out your angles, because we can see here we now have a set of alternate angles of 70 degrees. So if this angle here is coming in at 70 degrees, we means we have an alternate angle of 70 degrees on the other side of that parallel line. We also have 180 degrees here from north to south. Okay, and then we've got 70 degrees, so our total degrees from north is 180 plus 70, which is 250 degrees. Okay, so my bearing from the lighthouse from the boat would be 250 north. Okay, if we just go down here, got a couple more examples on this kind of idea. So if we want to find the bearing of B from A, so we're looking at where is B in respect to A. So again, we've got north, and in this case it's a bit tricky because it's given you the anti-clockwise angle, which we don't want. We want the clockwise angle. And we know that all of our angles around a point add up to 360. So we must have there then 15 plus 60 is 75. So we must have 75 degrees there. Okay, so for A2, my answer of my bearing from B from A would be 75 degrees north. Okay, for A3, again, I'm finding the bearing of B from A. So I'm looking at A, what's my bearing to B? And this one's really simple. We've got 105 degrees, that is going clockwise, so my answer is 105 degrees north in that case. Okay, a little bit further down, here we've got B3. Find the bearing of A from B. So in this case, we're looking at finding the bearing of A from B. And again, we've told that we've got this clockwise angle of 280. So again, pretty easy here. My answer is 280 degrees north. Okay, because I'm going clockwise from north around there, that gives me my angle from B to A. C3, find the bearing of B from A. So again, in this case, I'm looking at what's my bearing, what's my angle, if I'm starting at A, what's my angle in looking at B? Okay, and again, in this case, I know here that I've got 180 degrees. If we create, we've got these parallel lines, we've got our alternate angles in there. Okay, so I know that this angle here, that one there, is the same as that angle there. Okay, so I've got 180 degrees here. What do I add to 180 to make 230? Well, I'm adding 50 degrees, so that means that's also 50 degrees. Okay, so that means my bearing is 50 north. Okay, next one, find the bearing of A from B. Alright, so in this case I'm starting at B and I'm wanting to find what my angle is to A. So again, in this one I haven't got my north written in there, so I'm going to put my north in. Okay, there's north. I know I've got 180 degrees there, and I know if I'm coming in at this angle of 57 degrees, I also have my alternate angle of 57 degrees. That's also there, and I've got 180 here. Okay, now I know that 180 plus 57, okay, is 237. So my solution for A1 is 237 degrees north is the bearing of A from B. Okay, that's that whole angle there. Second one, B1, find the bearing of B from A. So again, in this case, I'm starting at A and I'm wanting to find what is my, I'm starting at A, what is my angle going to be? So again, I'm going to draw in my north in here. Okay, I've got a 293 degree angle there. And again, I know that these have to add up to 360, so just for good measure, so I got all my information in here. Okay, I know that's got to be 67 degrees in there, which means I know this has to be 67 degrees as well, which means I know this has to be 180 degrees. So 180 plus 67, okay, gives me 7, 8 plus 6 gives me 14, plus 2 gives me 247. Okay, so my bearing of B from A is 180 plus 67, so that is 247 degrees north. Alright, last ones are a little bit trickier because we're looking at some multiple points. Okay, so this first one says the bearing of S from L is 285 degrees. So that means that if I'm starting at L, my bearing to S, that whole way around there, that's 285 degrees. Find the bearing of L from S. Okay, so in this case, again, if I know, I'm just going to put in these parallel lines in here. If I know that that's 285, then to make up to 360, I must have an angle in here of, well, 15 and 60, 75 degrees. Okay, so I've got 75 there. That means I've got another alternate angle there of 75 degrees. Okay, now I know that these two together, they have to add up to 180. So 180 minus 75, well, that gives me 105 degrees. Okay, so my bearing of L from S, there's L from S, is 105 degrees. So A1 equals 105 degrees north. Okay, the bearing of S from C is 68 degrees. So that bearing of S from C is 68. Find the bearing of C from S. Okay, so again, if I mark in my parallel line, if that's 68 degrees there, that alternate angle is also 68 degrees. Then I know I've got this sneaky one here, which is 180. Okay, 180 plus 68 is 8, 14, 248. Okay, so my bearing of C from S is 248 degrees. Okay, this probably isn't everything that you need to know for bearings, but it is pretty comprehensive. So hopefully it helps anyway and just gets your head back into it a little bit and take a look at some of the revision. Alrighty, see you guys.